Welcome to Productive Joy with Dr. Christy, where fun meets action.
Hi, friends. Welcome to Productive Joy, the recap. Today, we are recapping Amy Chambers. Amy Chambers is a leader who became a leader at like 19, and she's written not one, but two books, both of which are fabulous reminders that we have a little more control than we realize. So her first book is called The 6 Habits of Powerful People, and the second one is The 7 Virtues of Exceptional Leaders. And habits and virtues are both acronyms. I love a good acronym. As an educator, I know that helps our brains remember things. And so the words that she uses for virtue include vision, involve, routines, talk, understanding, encourage, and showcase. These are all things you would do, verbs, that allow you to be more virtuous. And there's a reason why the habits book was written first, because you have to develop some strong habits in order to get to the point where you have the ability to exercise your virtues. And in both cases, in both books, she gives a very practical way that you can become the best possible leader that you can be. Now, what I know to be true is as leaders, we get better with effort, with practice, with experiences, and with intentional growth. We have to decide we want to be good at this. It doesn't just naturally happen. Now, some of us have some natural tendencies, and it's important that we lean into those. But in most cases, as we become leaders, we by default ended up in this new space, and now we have to figure out how to navigate it. And I'm here to tell you, we don't always have all the answers, and that is completely okay. It's one of the main reasons that I developed Productive Joy, because I knew I had access to some really brilliant people, and I knew that those brilliant people had things to say that other people needed to hear, but they wouldn't hear them if there wasn't a platform to hear them on. And so Productive Joy is designed to help you as a leader of other humans, and that can come in a lot of different forms. But as a leader of other humans, what are you doing with intentionality so that you can be as successful as possible? I think you might remember that my word this year is intentional, and I am trying really hard to lean into that word. When I say intentional, I mean that I'm doing things on purpose for a purpose, not because that's just the way it happened, not by default, but instead by design. Now, it doesn't happen as easily in all spaces as some spaces, right? Like it's easier to be intentional about a meeting that's on your calendar for 2 weeks from now than it is for one that pops up 15 minutes from now. But in both instances, you can enter with intentionality. So right now we're doing a campaign about intentionality with Intentionality Group. That's our company. And we're talking about a this or a that. So a this or that would be, let's see, it's going to be cold outside, right? So I can choose to wear clothes that will keep me warm, even though it is unseasonably cold outside today, or I can walk outside and be surprised because I didn't check the weather. Do it with intentionality. Or maybe it's about how you approach a meeting. I can prep for this meeting and come up with a list of things that I want to make sure that I talk about, or I can show up to the meeting and wait for them to tell me what we're going to talk about. Intentionality means that you put some thought into how you want things to turn out. And I think the most important thing we can be intentional about is outcomes. What is it that we want to accomplish from this conversation, from this meeting, from this experience? And if we don't have some sort of target, some sort of idea of what it will look like if it's successful, we will never know if it was actually successful or not. So it is so important that we recognize the way that we can make things happen intentionally. So today, I want to challenge you to do exactly that. Maybe you have a meeting coming up in an hour, or maybe you have a big presentation that you have to do to the organization later today, or maybe you have an observation, or maybe you have, I don't know, fill in the blank. I want you to take 5 minutes right now and think about that thing that's coming up and determine what it will look like if it's successful. And for those of you that aren't watching, I just put that in air quotes because successful to me and successful to you might not look exactly the same. So if my desired outcome from a meeting is that everybody leave knowing exactly what they are supposed to do, that's how I might define success. But you might define success from a meeting as I got through all of the line items that I wanted to get through. Those are both versions of success. Neither are right or wrong. But if at the end of the meeting, I did what I set out to do, but I missed your desired outcome, is it really successful? I don't know. Depends on who's defining success. So step one is to define success. Step two is to take action towards that success. And I think one of the things that Amy reminded us of is that in order to do that, we have to be human forward. We have to think about the humans in this situation, the situation being a meeting, a training, or whatever, instead of just thinking about the end product. If we take care of our humans, then the end product's going to get better. If we don't take care of our humans, the end product is going to suffer. So, are we taking care of our humans today? That could mean checking in with them and just saying, hey, how are you feeling? But it could also mean using their talents. It could mean knowing their talents. It could mean allowing people to thrive with the tools they've been given. It might be upskilling them into new tools. You get to decide that. But when you decide that, I want to challenge you to recognize that they get to define success too. So this should be a team effort. All right. So this podcast is called Productive Joy. That is on purpose. I am not delusional enough to think that everything you do is going to be joyous. But when you can find joy, let's make it something that produces something, even if that thing that it produces is just more joy. It doesn't have to be a productive thing, as we would define productive as, getting something done. Instead, it just needs to bring you both joy and results. I think that's a good way to live. Okay, so today and every day, I need you to grab on to something that I said. And I need you to send this to somebody and say, you know what, you need to hear this. I think we need to incorporate more of this thing into our meetings or whatever it is that struck you. And I need you to do me a bigger favor. I need you to take this information and do something with it, because if you don't change practice, nothing changes. So today, I need you to take the thing that you remembered, the thing that stuck with you, and I need you to figure out a way to turn fun into action.